I think Dave Gibbons is in the house.
What did you guys think of Hugh Jackman at the Oscars?
Can I just say that Dave is here now, so we want to welcome Dave.
Hello.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Welcome.
Welcome, hello.
We're good. This is Max. This is Maxwell. I'm sitting next to you on the sofa, Dave. I'm the moderator for today's event. Welcome. It's the first ever filmmaker Q&A in PlayStation Home, so we're all very excited. The first question is from Mr. Quint.
Ooh, you're starting with me. All right. I think my question has to go about to be involved. I think what I'm really curious about, to be honest, is what I love about Watchmen is that it's been one of those stories that's taken so long to get to the screen that we've had, as geeks, we've had a lot of kind of wish, dream filming, if you know what I mean, where we can kind of imagine what the Terry Gilliam version would have been like and what the Paul Greengrass version would have been like. So I'm really curious as to what your involvement was in those versions of the movie that didn't get made, and how that contrasts with your involvement in what ultimately got made with Zack Snyder.
Okay, well, first of all, it's really good to be here. Hello, everybody. Really, it's an easy question to answer because I didn't have much involvement at all with the previous versions. I remember meeting up with Joel Silver way back in the late 80s, along with Alan, and he wanted to put Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie, which would have been amusing. And then really, apart from Alan having a brief conversation with Terry Gilliam, really nothing happened until Zack got involved. I introduced myself to Zack at the premiere of 300, which I'd just seen, and was thrilled by the way that he'd adapted Frank Miller's graphic novel. And my involvement with the movie really went from there.
But Dave, this is Max here. I'm going to ask you, did you read any of the previous drafts of the script? Did you read the Sam Hamm Gilliam draft, or the Paul Greengrass kind of sort of modern version of the script?
Yeah, I read the Sam Hamm version and the original David Hayter script. And I mean, I think with Watchmen, apart from anything else, just being able to boil it down from 350 pages into a kind of a regular movie is an incredible job of compression and takes great skill. I think that the final script that they went with, which is essentially David Hayter's script with some rewriting by Zack and Alexei, is fantastic because the real masterstroke is that they put it back in its period. It all happens in the 1980s, and I think that gives it an incredible distance and a kind of a classic feel. So yeah, I think this is far and away the best script that I've ever seen for Watchmen.
I mean, the thing about this film adaptation is it's incredibly faithful. What kind of liberties did some of the previous attempts at adapting it take?
Well, I think there was an attempt to make it into more of an action movie. To have the Watchmen be like the Avengers or the JLA or something like that, which of course isn't in the spirit of the book at all. There was one version where Silk Spectre had kind of, as I remember it, superpowers, or used to, I think, throw some kind of boomerang thing around, which didn't really work. I think the real thing about Watchmen is that much as it appears to be a superhero movie, actually it's a science fiction alternate world story, and you deviate from that at your peril.
And you've seen the finished film now. Can I ask for your thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, I've actually seen it twice. I saw a rough cut last August, which had unfinished computer graphics and didn't have the final soundtrack on it. And I actually saw the final version about 3 or 4 days ago in Los Angeles, and I sneaked into the theatre on my own into a press screening because I didn't want anybody to be, as it were, watching me watching The Watchmen. So I just sat there on my own in the dark and watched it. I mean, of all the people in the world, for me to sit in the dark and watch this, I think somebody said earlier, Mind movie, you know, that we've all had for so long. I mean, I had the original Mind movie, and this was just that blown up and being shared by everybody else.
Sorry, Dave, you need to press the R2 key again.
Okay, no, I said it was like seeing the movie that I originally saw in my head, but now I was sharing it with a whole room full of people. Dreamlike, surreal.
Again, Dave, you need to press the R2 key, please. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to keep up. And, you know, I hope to see it at least another couple of times in the next few weeks.
Now, the one thing that seems to have got fans up in arms, and we won't want to get into spoilers here, is the removal of the squid. I know you've been asked this several times before, but what's your thoughts on the lack of squid?
Well, much though I like calamari, and I hope to be eating some later on. I've got nothing against squids as such, but you know, the squid was essentially what Alfred Hitchcock used to call a MacGuffin. You know, it's the device which is necessary to motivate everything, but it's not necessary that it's that particular gimmick. I think what they've introduced for the movie works just as well as the squid, and I think in the movie terms actually works better. And it hasn't just been, you know, put on the end of the movie without reference to anything else. It actually ties back into the basic premise of the movie and the basic plot, so it feels completely organic. So I'm very, very happy with the movie ending, and I don't miss the squid at all.
I mean, at the moment, it seems that literally every single comic or graphic novel is being adapted by Hollywood. What do you think about the kind of the trends, and do you think it will ever have an ending?
Well, I think Hollywood's been making superhero movies in all but name for quite a while. You know, I think of the kind of Bruce Willis movies, or, God bless him again, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think they've now finally gone back to the source. You know, there are a wealth of characters and stories in comics which have stood the test of time as being attractive to people. And I think actually Watchmen comes along at an interesting time when the superhero movie is as ready for deconstruction as the comic books were when we did the graphic novel. The only thing I do hope is that we're not now in for a spate of relentlessly dark movies. That's what happened with the comic books after Watchmen. I'd like to see a variety of superhero movies, you know, ranging from the dark to the optimistic to the fantastic to the funny to anything. Any variation on the theme would be welcome.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dr. Manhattan phase of the script? What other ideas did Joel Silver have at that time?
Well, that was the only one I remember with reference to Watchmen. I mean, I think it's such a breathtaking idea that probably I just blanked everything else out. But he also, I know, wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger to be Sergeant Rock, which, given that Sergeant Rock kind of fought the Germans in World War II, was a bit of a stretch, but apparently it was a way for him to prove that he was a real American after his dad had emigrated to the country. That's not strictly a Watchmen anecdote, but that was the kind of level of things that we were talking about.
As you sort of talked about earlier, trying to wrestle a 12-issue comic book series into a kind of a movie that you can go and see at the multiplex is difficult. Is there anything that's missing from the movie that you wish had been able to be in it, or do you think Zack's done a very good job at kind of editing it down?